Let's cross to our own Douglas Herbert for more. Doug, the biggest sticking point between these two gentlemen, climate change. And we heard from Donald Trump say at one point, we'll see what happens.
Exactly. You know, I sat through that press conference, just got out of it, and you might be able to see behind me, I'm not sure, Donald Trump actually saying goodbye, leaving right now, at least, well, he'll be going to dinner, obviously, with Emmanuel Macron, but stepping out of that press conference. That was the one sort of glimmer that everyone's sort of eyes sort of opened up, and there was that flash that went through the room among all those reporters out there. Could he be alluding to something? Trying to read a little bit into that statement. He basically said, with respect to those Paris climate accords, we'll see. Leaving open the possibility, could he change his mind? He didn't say he was about to change his mind. We're not there. He didn't say he's about to back down on anything. Still sticking to his position, but leaving at least open the possibility of perhaps modifying that position in some respect. Otherwise, Francois, general impression is that it was a press conference in which most of the positions which we heard during the G20 summit really sticking to those, each side staying really on message on the same talking points, whether we're talking about the fight against terrorism, whether we're talking about cybersecurity, whether we're talking about fighting online propaganda. There was no major breakthroughs on any other front. We did obviously have that question on a lighter note about Donald Trump's comments about Paris no longer being Paris, and his friend Jim warning him off from ever going there, and he sort of went back on that earlier statement, saying Paris is a beautiful city and that he will be back in almost Arnold Schwarzenegger-like tone. I'm coming back, he said. So that was the lighter note of the press conference. But on a lot of the basic issues, it really was the message that was coming across loud and clear, were that these were two men, pragmatic, who had made that pragmatic decision to work together, to talk together, in the full knowledge that they have some very major disagreements on some very big issues, notably climate change, but that they're going to keep this dialogue going.
Doug, we did get that domestic policy question. Donald Trump telling the press conference that from a practical standpoint, most people would have taken that meeting being the one that Donald Jr. took with a Russian lawyer in June of 2016.
Not only sidestepping the question a little bit, he called it opposition research. This is a narrative we've heard in recent days, that anyone would have done this in his place. He also cleverly framed it, if you will. It would be interesting to know which advisor told him to put it this way, saying that it wasn't a Russian government lawyer that he met with, but simply a Russian lawyer. And that would be a key sort of way of rephrasing this issue, because the whole difference between whether it was just a Russian lawyer that his son met with or a Russian government lawyer, that's all the difference when investigators are looking into the possibility of his campaign team having possibly colluded with a foreign national or a foreign government, specifically Russia. That wording would be key. So if it's just any old lawyer, they have a stronger case to make. No big deal. As you said today, press is making a whole big deal of this, sort of blowing it out of proportion. But I can almost guarantee you, Francois, that regardless of those words today, this issue isn't going away, and that Donald Trump did not lay this issue to rest. If anything, he probably raised a few more questions today about what he was told as well, about the nature of that meeting and exactly who he met with.
Douglas Herbert, many thanks for that update on that joint press conference there.